This is not a translator. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you.
I'm Desiree.
Oh my God. Holy shit. I'm so happy. Oh my God. Phil, how the hell did you do this?
The El Patron operates out of 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California, and they have a slew of 1.5-day trips where you'll fish with only 10 anglers on board. Bluefin tuna fishing, yellowtail fishing is outstanding in Southern California, and there's no better way to do it than on the El Patron. 310-832-8304 or visit 22ndstreet.com.
Stay tuned. You're watching Friedman Adventures. Mwah!
Let's go. Chop, chop.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. It is daybreak here in beautiful Southern California. I'm standing in Surfside, which is sandwiched between Seal Beach and Huntington Beach, and it's absolutely gorgeous. There is no wind. I can see the sun coming up. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's going to be another big day in sport fishing here in SoCal as well as northern Baja, California. We've got the bluefin tuna info for you all, some excellent lingcod fishing up in the northern sector, and some great sand bass fishing up there in the Channel Islands. Also, we'll check up on the sand bass bite for the Long Beach-based boats. We'll look at San Diego, some great full-day bluefin tuna fishing down that way, and some great local calico bass fishing in San Diego and surrounding areas. Man, you know what time it is. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and it's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. I just got off work a couple of hours ago, actually, down there at the Orange County Fair, and I got to see some really dear friends. Albert Ponce was there with his lovely wife, Crystal, and the kids. It's always so great to see their kids, and I had an absolute ball with them. And Albert, of course, had to tell me that he was at the east end of Catalina Island and saw copious amounts of breaking bluefin tuna right there at the east end of Cat. Wow, what a sight, what a beautiful thing, and what a great way to start my night off last night at Baja Blues at the Orange County Fair. And I also got to see Marcelo and his kids and spend some time with them from the Sharking Crew. Big shout out to the Sharking Crew. They are really wonderful people. And Marcelo, thank you so much for coming by and saying hello. It means a lot to me. All right, my friends, don't forget, hit that like button. Share these videos if you are enjoying them. Tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there is new content, and make a comment down below. Any comment at all will be deeply appreciated. And of course, subscribe to the channel. All right, let's jump into it, and let's go down several hundred miles where long-range boats are having some good fishing. Jim Odlum, he was on board the Intrepid, and man, did they have great fishing or what? It was an 8-day trip. They had yellowfin tuna, wahoo, white sea bass, grouper, and so much more. Jim, great trip. Looks like you guys really enjoyed yourselves. I just talked to Brian on the Independence. He's down there right now on an area we call the Ridge, and he says the yellowtail bite and yellowfin tuna bite is excellent right now, and they are looking for other species at daybreak here on Monday morning. Independent sport fishing, they do such a great job. And they have some openings. You know, normally they do not have any openings on that rig, and they've got some openings, so check them out and jump on a trip with the Independents. You will not regret it one bit. Up in the Ensenada area, our friends at Blackfin Sport Fishing with copious amounts of rockfish. It's been hit and miss on the tuna, but there's been quite a bit of that yellowfin starting to move in. And as I've mentioned to you previously, we've also seen a little bit of Dorado poking their nose in there. Evidence that the El Nino is trying to take hold, but still battling some colder water, some cooler water, let's call it that now, 65, 66, 67 degree water, like that. And so we see this really kind of crazy situation where we're seeing those tropical fish push in there, but we still have cool water. And those bluefin, when that water gets warmer, will bite even better. They'll mix with that yellowfin, and it should be a spectacular few weeks ahead. I think the finish of this summer is going to be spectacular in Ensenada, and then the fall, man, that's when you get your best weather months in northern Baja and SoCal. The wind normally goes away, and it should be some really excellent fishing down there. Louis Prieto, it's for real sport fishing. We had him on here the other day, but I got to talk to him further, and he said, Phil, the calico bass bite here, phenomenal. And we also saw quite a bit of yellowtail. Got one 20-pounder, he said, out of Ensenada, but there's a lot of yellows here. One day they're going to bite, and things are looking good. Now, I kind of, went to these other species first, talking about Ensenada. There is a significant amount of bluefin tuna down there being caught, and it continues to be caught. It's just that bluefin are so fickle, and you know how it is. It's kind of hit and miss on those little devils, but plenty of other species to back it up now. And that calico bass fishing around Punta Banda is one area to fish it, and other areas on that rugged, beautiful Baja coast. There is nothing in the world like it. I know you would love doing that. All right, let's get up to San Diego and talk bluefin tuna. There were some trips that weren't all that great, some decent trips, and some damn good trips also on the bluefin tuna. A little bit more yellowfin tuna starting to poke their nose in there. Tommy Roxas, we got to mention him. He went 2 for 2, throwing a Colt sniper on the Pacific Islander. So those smaller jigs, shiny jigs, 100, 120 grams like that, are working really good. Dawasakana is another good one. I'm sure you've got some other ones that you like, but throwing those in the middle of a foamer is not such a bad idea, as Tommy proved to all of us. Highliner, day and a half trip, 34 bluefin tuna. And one thing you got to say right now is the weather's gorgeous. And the forecast, I looked at that, looks great. Looks like we're not going to have any rough seas at all. It makes spotting those foamers even easier, and it's just so nice to fish in that kind of weather. I remember a time when I was a kid where I didn't care how nasty it got. And to some degree I don't now, but in my older age, I do prefer the calm weather. And you're certainly going to have that here in the next few days. That sounds really good. Mission Bell had a nice hit on the bluefin and yellowfin tuna yesterday. Nice fishing for those guys. My friend Sean Hardigan runs that boat out of Point Loma Sport Fishing, and they continue to do really well. Now, Coronado Islands has also had some yellowtail down there. At times it's scratchy, at times there's big hits. In fact, a couple of days ago, Sean and the Mission Bell had 44 yellowtail at the Coronado Islands. You do need a passport when you fish the islands, but a lot of those boys yesterday really did well offshore. San Diego, 32 guys, 64 bluefin tuna, 2 fish per rod, which is limits, and a great hit for them fishing in Mexican waters and doing really, really well. Slam dunk on those fish. Sea-Watch, they had a nice trip with 32 bluefin and 5 on the yellowfin tuna. Nothing wrong with that hit either. So more and more bluefin got into that full day trip area. And full day, when I say that, it's a trip that leaves in the morning, comes back in the afternoon. Some sinker fish on the heavier line, like the 60-pound, and when you go to a fly line, you're going to want to, watch the intensity of the bite. Sometimes it's 25-pound fluorocarbon, sometimes it's 40-pound fluorocarbon, even better than that. And of course, the nighttime fishing that is going on down there, while a little bit hit and miss, if you're on it, there are several factors that'll make you successful, and I'll just go over them quickly because I go over them a lot, but it's really, really important, and that is dropping to the depth the captain tells you at the precise moment he tells you to drop. He says drop, you're dropping. You've got the meter line that changes color every 100 feet. You know the exact depth of your jig because he is looking at it on the machines and he knows exactly where you need to drop. That is so critically important. And then heavy gear, 2-speed reels, yeah, definitely. And I like 100 to 130 pound. That really is important. Spectra, that is, works really good. In terms of the size of the jig, 300 to 400 grams seems to be best of all at this point in time. There's not a lot of wind and current, but that's subject to change. So you want to have some of those 400 gram lures. Also 300 have been working well, but also having those 400 gram lures is important. Excuse me, 1 minute. There we go. Man, what's going on here? All right, up here in this neck of the woods, still catching bluefin on the heels of that great trip on the Thunderbird, where they limited out on bluefin tuna. There was mucho boat pressure yesterday, and I can say that just about everything. You know, it's a weekend in July, fish are biting, and you're just going to get slammed with boat pressure. So we did have that, and the bite up here, you know, around Santa Barbara Island, surrounding areas was a little bit more difficult. But that Albert Ponce, seeing those fish at Catalina, what does that tell you? I mean, if you're headed to Catalina, you better have some heavy gear and be ready to rock and roll, because we saw those fish there. And Albert points it out and showed me the video, and that is really exciting stuff, if you ask me. Freedom 2-day trip, 19 bluefin tuna, a couple of halibut, rockfish, and stuff like that. They had a fish that went 150 pounds, which is still pretty darn amazing, if you ask me. Other guys were in the single digits on the bluefin tuna, a few decent hits, but a tremendous amount of boat pressure made that bite more difficult. Hopefully, and we will see the boat pressure come off here this morning, hopefully that bite will get rolling again. And once again, that fish in the daytime has been anywhere from 8 to, I want to say 25, 30 pounds, sometimes bigger than that. The bigger fish seem to come at night. So that smaller grade fish you can catch on 25 pound easily, and you'll get more bites. Choose a good hot bait, change that bait regularly. The belly hook seems to be really effective, and the boat pressure's off, so I would think that this might get going here even better. Man, is that absolutely beautiful. Wow. No wind at all. You got to think that barracuda and sand bass in the LA Orange County area is going to get rocking and rolling. Hey, don't forget, speaking of all this good fishing, a good friend of mine, Ernie's got 2 spots left on the Amigo. It is a 2.5-day trip out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. It departs August the 8th. Wow, that should be a fantastic trip. Send him a text for info and to grab those last 2 spots. 714-401-8773. And you'll be able to jump on board that one with my good friend Ernie, who will take good care of you. I know trips are hard to come by, and that's going to be a fantastic one, no question about it. Down in San Diego, really good calico bass fishing down there as they're catching hundreds of fish. They may not all be legal or even close to all be legal, but constant action, lots of fun. You fish lighter line, choose a good hot bait, and you'll catch more bass than the guy standing next to you. It's that easy. Sometimes drop down to 12. You drop down to 12, you'll be bit all day long on those calicos, all day long. So keep that in mind. There's some really excellent fishing going on. A little bit of barracuda, occasional yellowtail, same thing up there around Oceanside, Dana Point. They're catching some calico bass and also catching, occasional yellow along the coast. And there's all the rockfish and whitefish and all of that kind of razzmatazz to go along with it. Here in the Long Beach area, man, we were all excited about that sand bass bite. It backed off a little bit. It should come roaring back here today. Again, lots of boats on it, but not bad. On the Native Sun, they had barracuda and sand bass, not as good as the previous day. And then they limited everybody out on sculpin. Nothing wrong with that. That is really one thing that these guys have an advantage to. That sculpin bite has been great. They thrive in cold water, so their population is in good shape right now, and it's a fallback. But look for that sand bass bite to come back, and same admonition with regard to the sand bass. You definitely want to go to the lighter line, dropper loop. Sometimes just a sliding egg sinker was very effective, but always choosing a hot bait, changing that bait regularly. You're not getting a bite, just surmise there's something wrong with the bait. Don't try to figure out what it is. Who cares? Just change it, get another good hot bait on there, and get it out in the water. Light line, 12, 15 pound is what you want to fish, is what will have you out fishing the guy standing next to you. I'll guarantee you that. Other boats in the Long Beach area, same kind of thing. We go up to Redondo, and the Redondo Special starting to catch some calico bass. I'm surprised that they haven't had a big hit of barracuda up there in the bay yet. I still think that's on the horizon. That's going to happen here very, very soon. Speaking of the horizon, our August 15th trip is almost sold out. Don't forget that. You can book with H&M Landing. If you have any trouble with that, you can send Captain Bill Wilkerson a message. August the 15th, I will be there. It's a day-and-a-half trip. I'll be shooting video, you catching a fish, and hanging out with you for a day and a half, and that should be a lot of fun. Send Bill Wilkerson a text right now, 619-985-5179. All right, I got thrown off by that horizon mention. So up to the Channel Islands we take you, where the Island Spirit had great fishing. Am I starting to lose my voice? Kind of sounds like it. The Island Spirit had really great fishing, and man, they hammered the fish up there with limits of sand bass, and they also had some barracuda, some calico bass. There's been halibut up there. There's whitefish and rockfish. Great trip on the Island Spirit out of Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing. 805-676-3474. That is another good place. Better take another hit here. I love fishing the island. My brother Paul and I spent some time with Cody Rogers and the great crew a couple of weeks ago, and man, that was so much fun. And now their fishing up there is outstanding. Mirage had a halibut, a bunch of rockfish, some really good lingcod fishing up there for the Santa Barbara based boys. Stardust had 34 lings, while the Coral Sea had 10 lings, and of course they had all kinds of colorful and beautiful and great eating rockfish to go along with that. So that is all super good news. Albacore, man, I got to think that is still in the cards there. This sand bass showing up late, thresher sharks showing up late, water's still cool, plenty of anchovy. I know you think I'm crazy, delusional perhaps. Maybe I should be committed, institutionalized, but I'm telling you, this still looks good to me for Albie. I still have that door wide open and still think it's a very good possibility here in SoCal. Only time will tell on that. We'll see how that all plays out. It's absolutely gorgeous, and along our beaches where you find the cool water, there's a couple, well, maybe 4 or 5 guys up here surf fishing. You saw that one guy walk by earlier. Once again, there's been some good barred perch fishing. When the water warms up, we're going to switch into more yellowfin croaker, which we are catching along the Southern California coast, and also a few more halibut are still being caught here along the SoCal coast, and Corvina. That's going to start to really bite really well, digging up sand crabs, sandworms, going to big fish bait and tackle in Seal Beach right down the street from me, getting some bait, fishing that hard, or throwing just a chrome crocodile. It's also a super effective way to take fish in the surf. All right, my friends, it's a beautiful Monday morning. I feel so blessed to be here with you all. I thank you so very much for spending some time with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share these videos. You can catch us also on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We're on all those venues for all of you. Great to see so many of you at the Orange County Fair. I'll be back there Wednesday through Sunday as we wind up the fair. Well, we're not winding it up quite that fast, but that was a quick 8 days that just went by and are in the rearview mirror. And of course, I'll be keeping you up to date all day long here on this beautiful Monday morning. All right, can't thank you enough, my friends. Oh, by the way, clothing still being given out down there in Cedros. It's been just such a great thing. All of you who donated clothing or funds or anything else, man, Diego Nuno and his family handing that stuff out. Diego's actually on the Royal Star. His mom handing that stuff out with Padre Saul at the Catholic Church on the island of Cedros. You guys all made that happen. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you all so very much. All right, take care. Have a great one, and I hope to see you really, really soon. Take care, my friends.
Look at that, man.
The big calico bass come out to play around Punta Banda, Baja California, Norte near Ensenada, fishing with Diego Nuno and Costa Baja Sport Fishing.
First cast coming up. Dad Leland's back. He ain't screwing around anymore.
Freaking nice barred perch.
Ah, life's good. Woo!
Good job, man.
Oh, Phil, I'm so glad you talked me into this.
Woo! What a way to start the
Check
morning.
out this
Freedman.
unusual creature that washed up in front of Louis Prieto's house in Ensenada, Baja California Norte. Dr. Gwen Goodman-Lowe from California State University at Long Beach says it's either a dwarf or pygmy sperm whale. Hard to tell from the angle. Extremely rare for these waters and rarely seen at sea. Most of what knowledge we have about these creatures comes from specimens that have washed ashore.